Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second session of Somatic Healing and Resilience, a focus on the African American experience. My name is Dr. Candice Ben. I'm a therapist, a life coach, and a yoga instructor. And I'm excited to bring this second part to you. Last session, we discussed introduction to somatics and trauma responses. And today, we're going to talk about generational trauma, systematic oppression, and chronic stress. So, I just want to let you know again, this is a smaller micro workshop of a bigger and vaster workshop that I teach. So, we're only going to be touching a lot of this on a surface level. And again, I want to go over the goals. Understand how generational trauma, cultural messaging, and stress impact the body and how to heal. And at the end of this, I would like you to increase awareness of how trauma is stored in the body, recognize cultural narratives that shape body and mind connection, and explore ways to restore somatic resilience. That's key and big here. Explore ways to restore somatic resilience. So, like I said before, just surface level touching the information, but really doing and practicing some of the tools within our modules that you can use every day. So please grab your journal, your pen, and just like last session, we will be having some reflection questions and some things that you can build the awareness, because that's the first part, building the awareness, right? Understanding where it might stem from, why where it might be rooted, and then what you can do to break that cycle. So when we talk about chronic stress, I'm going to hit you with some statistics here. So, Black Americans are 60% more likely to have high blood pressure. Black women experience the highest rates of maternal mortality, and weathering accelerates biological aging due to prolonged stress response. Chronic hypervigilance equals nervous system dysregulation. So, African Americans are 20% more likely to experience serious psychological distress due to racial trauma. And that's from the National Institute of Health in 2021. So, when we're talking about what's happening environmentally and also internally, and also what has been passed down, chronic stress is at a high rate within our community. And these things, such as nervous system dysregulation, weathering, hypertension, are the consequence of living in constant survival mode. So, I want you to check in here. Deep breath, exhale it out. Notice your breath. Even notice your breath as I'm talking about this topic. Is it shallow? Is it deep? Stress affects how we breathe. Take note in certain situations when your breath changes. Is it changing to a more shallow or a more deep breath pattern? Right? And what might this mean for you? So we already said that our nervous system, when it's overwhelmed, the concept which is passed down could be from messaging. Okay, it creates narratives. Okay, and let's look at systematic oppression in our nervous system activation. So when we see microaggression in the workplace, discrimination, and racial trauma, keep the body in survival mode. Okay. And sometimes the messaging that has been passed down from generation to generation could be just make do, keep going. So perhaps, and again, this might not be your story, when you are experiencing microaggression in the workplace or perceived microaggression in the workplace, has a messaging that has been passed down, again, rooted out of resilience, rooted out of survival. Is it a suppression of the feeling? Is it a hyper awareness of microaggression, right? How does that play? And then what does this do for your nervous system? Are you in chronic stress as a result? Flight, fight response expresses justified anger, yet being labeled aggressive, right? So if you are in fight mode, your survival mode takes you to fight, right? I have to act in this way because of what I'm experiencing in my environment, right? But you're labeled as aggressive. And now, does that tack on something else with regards to your stress response? Flight response, overworking, excelling as a survival strategy. Freeze response, emotional detachment, feeling powerless. Fawn response, over accommodation to avoid conflict. And again, I just want you to note that this is the surface level of all of this information. We can definitely go deeper. And before we do that, I want to make sure that there's just like a basic understanding of the why we're talking about this. I encourage you and implore you to find out even more information on some of these experiences that occur that may impact our stress response within our community, because I believe it looks different in all communities. Okay, so how our body carries oppression, racism, and the nervous system. So when we're in survival mode, when we're dysregulated, code switching, hypervigilance, and anxiety in professional spaces might become the response, right? So when you're in a fight response or a flight response or a freeze response, is code switching what you do, right, in order to survive and to move forward in that particular space that makes you uncomfortable. Meanwhile, your body is doing something, the breath, the tension in the jaw, the tension in the shoulders, something is happening. However, we go to our default mechanism of code switching, being hypervigilant, right? The body responds as if under constant threat, right? So we're always looking for a threat. We're always looking for safety in within our environment. And if you're in a space where you feel oppressed, or if you're in a space where you're experiencing racism, however, maybe some of the messaging that has been passed down or the messaging that you have internalized causes you to ignore what your body response is telling you that you need and go into a default strategy that's survival, does it equal high cortisol, digestion issues, tension. And being in this overactivation state over time can overwhelm the system. So that's why this is an important topic, right? So healing through this awareness, ways to disrupt this trauma cycle. Okay, so I just went over the cycle, right? But what does it mean for you? What does your cycle look like? So to begin that process, notice where tension lives in the body. If you remember it in module 1, we took a check-in. Take a deep inhale, exhale, and just notice without judgment where you hold tension in the body. Is it always the same space within the body? Does it change depending, on who's around you or where you are? And now, how do you challenge old narratives? Right? Are those rooted in old narratives that you've heard, that your mom may have heard, that her mother may have told her? Just like I said, rooted in survival, rooted in resilience, right? Rooted in the awareness of what was going on around us or around them. Here comes the messaging: be strong, be still. Don't let them see you sweat. Don't let them see you cry. So, can you tell yourself now that you don't have to be strong all the time? How does that feel for you to break that cycle? Self-care is resistance. Stand tall and take up space. Your body deserves safety. I tell this to my clients all the time, especially the clients that look like me, where we are experiencing stress and responding to stress differently than our counterparts. What does your self-care plan look like based on your story? Somatic experiencing and techniques for systemic stress. So we're going to start with progressive muscle relaxation. So this is again where we kind of come in to do some practices. So come to a seated position, or you can lay down in this one. Shoulder blades by the ears, exhale down the spine. Take a deep inhale and a long exhale. So with this practice, we're going to do what's called tense and release. Okay, so we're going to start at the foot, and we're going to tighten the foot real tight, 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 tight. Inhale. And on exhale, release all 10 toes. And remember grounding, so grounding through the earth. Okay, purposely making sure that we feel the ground beneath us. And now do the same thing with the legs. Tighten the legs, tight, 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 tight. Tighten the thighs. Inhale. And exhale, release the legs, release the thighs. Now we're going to bring it all the way up to the fingers. Tighten the fingers, tight, tight, tight. Make fists with the fingers. Inhale. And exhale, release. And do the same thing with the face. Tighten the face, tighten your shoulders, bring them to the ears as if you just ate a lemon. Inhale, exhale, bring them all the way down to the shoulders and just release the shoulders, let them fall heavy. Now bring it to the face. Let the mouth fall open, the jaw just opens slightly. The tongue falls from the roof of the mouth. The eyes are heavy. The ears and eyebrows are heavy. And now scan the body for tension. Go to your normal spot where you usually hold tension. Are you holding tension there right now? Or has it released? Take a deep inhale and exhale. This is good for reducing muscle tension and chronic stress patterns. Take a deep inhale, long exhale. If your eyes are closed, I invite you to open them. Just give the body what it needs. So this next grounding is through the feet. So at this time, I know we will not be able to do this, but I'll read through it, and I would encourage you to do this wonderful grounding technique at any time when you are able to take off your shoes, stand barefoot, and focus on the sensation of the feet pressing into the ground. So when you're in sand or on the grass, this is a wonderful, wonderful technique just to ground. Stand still, tall, shoulder blades are back and down, chest is lifted when you do this, and you're just making sure the feet are pressed within the ground, and all 10 toes are feeling beneath whatever ground you choose to stand on. This helps bring awareness back to the present moment. So whenever you feel disconnected from the body, try this, grounding through the feet. Take off your shoes. Get rooted through the ground. And remember to breathe. So this last one is 4-7-8 method. Okay, so you're seated in your seat. Inhale, exhale, always bringing those shoulders back and down. So purposely bringing the shoulders up to the ears, right? Because our shoulders are there. If we notice, sometimes we're just tense and our shoulders are by our ears. So if you really purposely bring awareness to your shoulders and inhale and exhale them down, and you lift your chest, placing your hands on your lap, and just open up the lungs and breathe here, right? That's just a purposeful way of sitting up, right? Because our posture also can go in based on our stress level, if you notice that, okay? So being aware, take a deep inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold for 7 counts. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So now that you know, inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So again, these are available for you to use and to practice and do more than just twice. Try it more than 4 times or maybe 6 rounds, whatever it is, and build yourself up to that, right? So practice doesn't make perfect, it makes priority. Okay, so just put this into your daily life when you need certain things. So this one is good for lowering heart rate and relaxing the nervous system. Okay. So, some takeaways from this module are: intergenerational trauma is real, but healing is possible. Your body is not meant to be in survival mode 24/7. Awareness equals the first step towards freedom. So, this time, bring out your journal and your pen. And some reflection questions are: how has generational trauma shown up in your family or community? And how do you see it affecting your body? So we're talking about generational trauma, systematic oppression, racism. Right? How have those things impacted you? Community breakdown, family breakdown. Reflection. What's one small way you can listen to your body this week? Okay, are you impacted by something that's become chronic, that overwhelms your nervous system, and you can relate to being in one of those responses: fight, flight, fawn, freeze? And instead of listening to the body that's whispering to you, that might now be screaming to you, do you rationalize it away? Is that your cycle? And now that you're learning these tools, what can you go back to between session 1 and session 2 that you can add to your toolkit and use this week? So I hope that you've gained some information, and I hope that this is the start of your journey for healing and peace and love. Look forward to next session.